All right, so the last story here in Ukraine, a cathedral is damaged during a Russian attack. A very historic cathedral was damaged in Kyiv on Monday during a major Russian drone and missile attack on the Ukrainian capital as the war between Russia and Ukraine continues to escalate. Photos and videos show the Dormitian Cathedral of Kiev-Peshchersk Lavra, also known as the Monastery of the Caves, on fire during the Russian attack. The blaze caused extensive damage to the cathedral's roof and was eventually extinguished. Ukrainian officials said that the historic cathedral was hit by Russian drones, while Moscow denied the charge, claiming that it was hit by a U.S.-made Patriot missile interceptor fired by Ukrainian forces. I didn't see any evidence of that. I didn't see any sort of wreckage or anything. But as you can see here, this is a picture of it when it was on fire, and there was extensive damage to the roof. And this is, again, a very historic, it's nearly 1,000 years old. This cathedral, that's a big part of this big monastery complex. So really tragic to see something like that on fire like that. And it's been kind of a source of controversy throughout this war because the government, as part of its crackdown against the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, they evicted clergy, priests, and nuns from this monastery. And this is part of, again, the crackdown on the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, which has historic ties to Russia, to the Moscow Patriarchate. But it actually did sever ties with the Moscow Patriarchate following the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. But, the Ukrainian government accused the clergy of all sorts of things, even though their leadership very strongly denounced the Russian invasion. And at the time, I haven't followed this in a little while. I know that the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, the one that they cracked down on, was by far the bigger of the two Orthodox churches in Ukraine. And then the other one, which it's confusing because they call it the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, the OCU, which is backed by the Ukrainian state. Their clergy now resides in this monastery, which is actually owned by the government. But so they kicked out the UOC, and then they installed these other clergy. But anyway, so then there were other heavy attacks across Ukraine. Ukrainian officials said 11 Ukrainian civilians were killed during this bombardment, and over in Russia, at least 3 civilians were killed by Ukrainian drone attacks. And Russia said that they were targeting Ukrainian military industrial sites in response to civilians being killed in Russia by the drone attacks. As we've been covering, we've really seen an increase in the civilian casualties inside Russia. And then as a result, we're seeing more civilian casualties in Ukraine because of the heavy Russian missile and drone bombardments. So I saw the New York Times had a story the other day about how this war is now has been going on longer than World War I, which is just really kind of depressing to think about.